with embers and we break through. Unbox the fire, showcase the find. Collectors worldwide, all one of a kind. ToyLeet, we set the pace. Elite with the heat in this plastic race. ToyLeet, not just a name. We're the culture, the vibe, the collecting flame. Click, snap, pose, it's more than display. We stack with style, redefining play. Custom builds, epic drops. From stream to shelf, we never stop. ToyLeet, it's not just toys, it's legacy we stack. ToyLeet's the movement, and we're never looking back.
You gotta unmute yourself, Ed. I told you. You're gonna have to unmute yourself. You rejected it. You rejected it, Ed.
Tons of bitches muting me on my own show, I tell you.
How's it going,
Just
dude?
because you got a fresh haircut doesn't mean you're the king, man, I'll tell you. You're looking good, though, brother. You're looking good.
I'm Mr. Wonderful. Thank you, brother. Thank you. How's it going,
You look
man?
about 10 years younger than you did the last time I saw you.
Oh, good, man. That's good. That's probably all the white hair that I got cleaned off. I
Right?
looked in the rearview mirror yesterday. I looked in the rearview mirror yesterday, and I was like, oh, right there, like, oh man, that's a pretty big white hair coming through. I'm getting all that like salt and pepper in the temples. So I'm like, and my daughter's she's in the process of learning to cut hair, kind of doing the apprenticeship, just like my older son did. So she's been doing that now, and she needed a test subject today. You know, so every 2 weeks I'm getting a trim up now just to keep her on her toes.
It works. It's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, how's everything going on your end, dude?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Doing all right, you know.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks.
Been a couple weeks, yep.
Couple things, man. Like the Quest to 500. I know we haven't talked about it much. We'll talk about that in a little bit. We've made a lot of traction. Show's going well. This every 2 week thing's been working out pretty good. We've been getting some supplemental content in. You've been kicking ass with your Monster Force stuff, man. Operation Monster Force. Really love that stuff. The Savage Crucible stuff is just crazy cool. They've been killing it with that, and I'll be talking a little bit more. I think there's probably enough stuff coming out about both of those that in coming shows, when we're not blessed with guests like we are tonight and next week, because we will be going live again next Tuesday with no break in between. You know, assuming everything lines up as we anticipate it will, with a special guest next week also, which we'll talk about at the end of the night. But man, did you get anything cool lately, dude?
No, actually,
Actually, time out. Let's bring in our guest this week.
Bring the man on.
Let's bring him in right now. Hopefully I do this right. There it is. We've got our special guest, Terrance, over at, I refer to him as TNT, or Terrance's Next Toys, over on Instagram. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta unmute you. Ha!
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
I told you, man. He's Captain Squirrel.
Yeah. How's it going, brother?
It's going. We're in the, as you guys know, we're in the final push for getting everything ready for 1,000 Swiggs at LegionsCon. So it's like full steam ahead over here.
Awesome. That's awesome, man. I think I may have a swig in the basement. I know.
And
I'm going to ask some questions when we talk a little bit later about that, because maybe making the journey down to LegionsCon, I was thinking Saturday, but I believe SwiggMania is on Sunday. We'll talk more about that later, though.
Sure.
Awesome. So I wanted to pull you in early because we're going to have you hang out with us all night. I think we're going to go for 38 hours so we can top punk. But we're not doing it for the kids. We're doing it for us because we're selfish sons of guns.
Yes.
No, we wanted to bring you in because we want to hear what you got going on, just like Ed. So Ed, I'm going to pass off from you and ask Terrance if you got anything cool recently.
So probably the most recent thing I got was I had gotten the Figura Obscura Jersey Devil.
Okay.
He's not fully fleshed out over here. He's just simply set up, but really love the Figura Obscura line, and this is an excellent addition. I had put up my own thoughts on it on my Instagram. I'd say the only thing that my only drawback on it was I need to have better wings on this guy. But outside of that, I
Okay.
think that he's fantastic. I mean,
What
love
kind
him
of wings?
from
What
that
kind of
shelf.
wings you mean by better?
They're just heavy, and I think that Four Horsemen is still kind of like using a system where it's not like ratchet or like where they're adjustable.
Yeah.
You have it set up. Like, how did you do that? Did you have to glue them in or anything, or is that just really the way that they popped in?
No, that's just how I got them in there.
Man, I have to figure out the secret. I had a tough time with them.
And I didn't even heat the hole. I didn't even heat. Let me try that again. I didn't even heat the holes up. I just threw them in there.
I
So
definitely
you just went in raw. You just went in
I went
raw.
in raw. I raw dogged it.
Okay.
There you go.
See, not for the kids. Not for the kids, guys. Not for the kids. No, that's awesome, dude. That's the same.
Them to get them in the right position to sit right and everything. So.
And those are the wings that came with it that you have on it, right, Ed? Those aren't
Yep.
like secondary.
No, those are the exact setup.
Awesome. Good deal. Cool. I'm gonna skip you in line, Ed, because I'm too pumped. Got this.
Great.
It's like the only item that I got, you know.
Well, we can't see what it is because there's too much glare with all your bright lights and shiny bib bobs over there. There you go.
So WWE Ultimate Scott Steiner.
Nice.
The when he was Big Pampa Pump Edition.
Big Papa
which
Pump.
I was really pumped for. Wanted that one real bad. One of my
When you
favorite.
got up to the register, were you able
figures.
to do Steiner math to get it like at half price or something, or?
Well, it was like 66 and a third chances. No, I'll leave that one for the real guys. Yeah, no. It's self checkout, man. I just was able to pull it out and just go, and it was like a third the price of like the chances of winning, so it worked out. But yeah, that's the only. Well, I mean, I technically got a couple other things, but they're down in the basement. As you guys can see behind me, there's like nothing here anymore, other than my picture of my wife and I from our wedding. But like. My office is in complete disarray. All I have is my computer set up. So I actually have a couple other items in the basement that I haven't opened.
Just so everybody knows, Travis told me he was going to get this done in a week. So that was about 6 weeks ago when he told me that. And he sent me pictures over the weekend of the disaster that he has in his basement of trying to put this office back together. And
but
I think he might have bit off a little more than he thought, but he's doing all right. He's got one shelf set up. He's got one started.
Oh no, I got all the shelves set up now. I didn't send you it. All 3 shelves are up.
Oh,
the stand is up. All of my clear cases are up.
Now
I don't
you
have
just need a
figures
wall
in any of them.
And
yeah, I just got to build a wall on the other side to put my desk against, so that it's separated. And because the monitors have like a special setup that I have because I've got like the command center here. But I did find a stash of boxes down there, as you know, Ed.
Yes.
So I probably have a thing or two that I need to open at some point. I think there was like, I would imagine there's like $1,000 in toys down there between Savage Crucible, Animal Warriors. I found an entire box of Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, like an entire box of unopened figures. I think I've got like Warrior Pale, and I think I've got the Wolf and some of that stuff. So yeah, I found a crap ton of stuff. So I'll be having some fun to unbox some of that stuff and put some content on the channel once I get the sections built out down there. It's coming along well though. But Ed, back to where I started with you. What'd you got this week?
I have not picked up anything because I showed off my New Jersey Devil, and I showed off all the Monster Force stuff that I got, and I got a whole bunch before the last show. As you know, I mean, I got just a ton of stuff.
Absolutely. So. Well, you got all the Monster Force.
Yeah, I got all the Monster Force in, and then I got Mr. Hyde from Loose Collector and the Jersey Devil. So I got a good amount of stuff in all at once. So
good deal. Well, I guess then let's hit the chat up real quick if you want, Ed. Go ahead and do that.
All right, we got Largo's Lair saying groovy. What's up, Jim? And Mark Wonky 3016. I'm guessing he's one of Travis's buddies, or Terrance's buddies, rather, not Travis's. Sorry. Brian from Endless Fables is here, who was at the Titan Toy Show over the weekend. Hooked us up with some goodies. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Yes.
And Men.
Did you have yours? Did you have yours shipped yet, Ed?
He was going to ship it the other day. I don't know if he did or not. So I told him it's, no rush. I mean,
I told him to hold because I may end up getting them from him at LegionsCon if
yeah,
it's
he told me about
going
that. So,
to let me get down there.
and we
So
got
you'll have
this.
yours before me.
We got this handsome gentleman pulling double duty, saying hello to everyone.
What's up?
And this guy. Why is CM Punk on the thumbnail? I didn't see CM Punk on the thumbnail.
He's probably talking about my picture because I could kind
Oh.
of see the CM Punk resemblance in the photo, not in the realistic individual here,
Right.
but in the little real life photo. I did change the styling, Ed, because somebody that we will not name may have hijacked my artistic credibility over the week and created a ToyLeet Takeover post,
Well,
which
I
I
know-
didn't catch. I didn't even catch that, Terrance, for like 3 days, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh snap!" He went toilet on me. So yeah,
Terrance is an artist, so I mean, it probably didn't take him that long to replicate you, which took 17 years to get that artwork taken care of. Because
no,
you're
that took
not
me
an
like
artist.
40 years.
Right?
It took me 40 years.
Exactly. And we got GI Jetman here saying, "What's up, Ed, Terrance in chat?
What's
Up, Jetman?" And then we got GI Joe the Lost Chronicles saying, "What's up, Ed? How's the weather, brother? My wife is from Western New York." Yeah, that's right, man. I'm doing good, brother. I know it's not quite as warm as it is where you're at now because we've had beautiful days. It's been like 55 sunny, but had some heavy frost, like 30 degrees this morning. So loving it. I love this weather.
Oh, absolutely.
Friggin' Brian from Most Fables is saying he's painting his swig right now as we speak. So, and Tony's Figs is here and saying, "Yo, brothers." And let's see. Marcus Crom 16 from Off-World. Oh, okay. Curtis, don't hold that against him. Yes, Curtis. And that is all for the chat right now.
Awesome. Well, then I guess it's time to jump right into it. Let me see if I got this set up properly. There it is. Look at that. Got us over here on the sharing screen here. So this week we have what has been delayed several times due to other pressing matters like the Savage Crucible Wave 4 deep dive, and then the Operation Monster Force deep dive for what is it? Chapter? Is it chapter?
Book.
Or season? It's season, right?
Season and books.
Season 2. Season and book, season book 2, whatever it is. Yeah. So we got delayed by those. But this week we finally brought it to Plastic Shame. This is main topic tonight. We're going to dive into kind of like as a collector, as an adult toy collector. Not that kind, guys. Not that kind. But as an adult action figurine collector, do you get shamed? And we'll talk about that as we go in. As folks know, if it's your first time joining in, we like to have a main topic every week. And then we cover some other things. We touch base on a shout out from the Crick, which is actually up now. So why don't we go into that real quick here, Ed?
Down by the creek where the water flows, we're shouting out to those who know. Spreading joy, sharing love, ToyLeet fam, you rise above. Shout out from the creek, you're the best. Hype up the heroes who've passed the test. Community stars shining bright.
All right. So this week's shout out from the Crick goes to the man, the myth, the short legend, A Punk with Toys. Over the weekend, Lawrence hosted his annual, for the second year in a row, 36-hour stream, which actually went like 39 or 30 or 40 hours, to raise money for Toys for Tots. All the money that the channel generated, including super chats, donations, any kind of ad revenue from Friday through Sunday, all goes to Toys for Tots. So he did that over the weekend. Of course, he does it in October, so he gets the money from YouTube by the end of November, which is when, the Toys for Tots drives really start. So Punk did an awesome job, had a lot of cool guests, had a lot of fun, raised a pretty decent money. Last I knew, I think we were above the 4K mark that he was shooting for, so did really good. So shout out to you, Punk, and can't wait till next year. And
I just hijacked the screen.
You did something there, buddy. I don't know
Sorry,
what
guys.
he did.
Give me 1 second.
He doesn't know what he did. There he goes.
That should fix it. I don't
All
like
right.
the way that looks. We're going to get rid of that. Sorry, guys.
All right.
We're good. Okay.
We got a couple new chats in the thing, so let's hit those real quick, and then we'll move on to the next segment. How's that sound?
Yeah, note to self, don't make changes to the system as you're flying by the seat of your pants.
Matthew Matson's here saying, nerds! I don't have the soundbite, Matthew, sorry. And Action Joe Fig saying, good evening, fellas. What's up, AJF? And then we got the Brick something here saying, what's up, kids? What's up, Brickster?
The brick.
AI seems to think you all look the same. I said that to Travis when we started, that him and Terrance in the picture look like they're twins. And you are welcome, sir. You did an awesome job over the weekend. Great show. I think this year went even better than last year. And not that the segments were any better, but I think the way they were set up went well. So
I disagree. He was lacking something wonderful from the whole stream, but I'll let it be. I'll let it be.
And Beast Battlegrounds here, which is Punk's nemesis, arch enemy, as is well known. Had a blast hanging out on it. Yeah, it was great to see you hanging out with us, B, for sure. And that's all for the chat, brother.
Awesome. Well, then we will go into the weekly news. So this week for October 28th, 2025, we got a bunch of crap to talk about. So I'm going to try to keep it quick and keep it light. But we're going to kick things off first with some energy heading into LegionsCon from the Defenders of Eden crew, as they're going to be going back to their roots. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but a while back they had some blank armies of Ashmore Bucks from last year, from the campaign in the past, I believe. Some fans have customized the heck out of those, and I guess this year they're doing it again, as you can see here, from, I believe it's Late Night LeBron's armored build here, with a new paint app and some custom parts. But speaking of creativity, one project that's been catching a ton of eyes lately showed up at Titan's Toy Expo with a killer preview. And that's your Almighty Legends. They showed off their production model live at the Titans Toy Expo. And in my opinion, it looked next level. It looks very cool. There might be some savage bias here, as it is on their buck, between the sculpt, the armor detail. This thing is ready to lead a charge into the mythic and fantasy realm for sure. This is a first look from the final production sample from the Almighty Legends line. I'm really pleased with this. I think this looks cool, Ed. I know you and I have talked about this quite a bit. I'm very excited to see this come to fruition for sure. But next, from Legends, I guess we can go to Kingdoms, specifically the Animal Warriors of the Kingdoms, as they've been bulking up in a big way. The Animal Warriors of the Kingdom line from Spiro Toys is bringing the muscle, as they say. The Badass Reviews page showed off a photo which Spiro shared, and they dropped the in-hand look of the new oversized prototypes. And these beasts are clearly massive, easily some of the most detailed scopes we've seen from them yet. These three AWOC prototypes that are shown definitely have both incredible size and sculpt. But if these guys are big, I'd say Brutal is even better. So on the Brutal Realms, they've been dropping some updates, and they also had some stuff to show at the Titan Toy Expo. I was going to say Teen Titans, but they did show off some new looks of the Dark Assassin Shatter, progress on the Owl King, and even some tweaks to their Barbarian Warrior torsos, showing just how much they have listened to the fan feedback. I know, Ed, you and I early on during this Kickstarter were a little concerned about some of the torso and just the overall bulkiness of them. But they did unveil these and showed these off recently. They have nearly completed all of the sculpt updates that will help increase the realism of the Owl King. They also show off some adjusted barbarian torso designs after some of the collector input. So this is what I would say is some real-time iteration to see. And then from here, I think we can take a look at Creative Beast Studios as they've been evolving into their deck building tool or their deck building game. So the Zoic trading card game did wrap up its Kickstarter. They did bring in, I think it was like 417% funded, bringing in over $57,000, which really isn't bad at all for a tabletop game, and specifically one based on dinosaurs or prehistoric kind of approach. It was funded by 362 backers, which blended the Cyberzoic and Beast of Mesozoic lore. There are late pledges still being opened with the backer kit pre-orders launching soon. So while we're talking legacies like these guys, one toy that is a legacy just celebrated 10 full years of Mythic Mayhem, and that's the Four Horsemen. They revealed a proof copy of their long-awaited book, Mythic Legions, the first 10 years. This looks, in my opinion, it looks gorgeous, right? It's got a hardcover for it. It's decades worth of artistry, storytelling, and community. They have highlights in the image here. You can see a proof of the copy they received sitting on the desk tabletop there. This is not a lore-based book. It is very much so the history of the Mythic Legions line, from my understanding. It captures the full 10-year journey of the Mythic Legions. Definitely a collector for most. I'm sure that'll be showing up from the Cabal in a couple weeks down in New Jersey. But next, something closer to home for you, Ed, is the Fresh Monkey Fictions latest wave, which they started previewing some of. They just dropped their Operation Monster Force Dark Directives, and it's loaded. Skeleton Squads, Dracula, Invisible Operatives. It's kind of like every monster movie we love got weaponized, right? And just continuing to evolve the toys you have. And I think they're on their 300th translucent Lieutenant Griffin, the Eraser character. I think they're trying to keep up with McFarlane's Batman releases. So they're on their way. They do have some points here that is a LegionsCon exclusive. So those attending LegionsCon will have the opportunity to get that. And they also showed the Chatsworth heavy artillery with a 1/8 t-shirt chase variant. So then you also have the Red Reaper in the image here, and then additionally you have a few other folks: Count Dracula, Those Who Trespass, and the Azure Guard. These pre-orders all begin on October 31st at Big Bad Toy Store. And if Monster Mash of Epic's Proportions wasn't what you were looking for, there's another reveal out of Titan's Toy Expo that carried over from a conversation they had on their live stream a night or two before, and that's the hint that they continue to highlight, which is the Frazetta Art Museum Savage Crucible Fish toys are officially teaming up. It was hinted towards on the stream. It was shown in a preview here. You can use your coin decoder to basically determine that this says something about Death Dealer's horse. I'm not good at remembering nor decoding things, so I left it to Ed to share with me what this says and something about a steed. I'll let you guys do the rest. Other than that, that's pretty exciting because one of the big things for these fantasy figures are having mounts, and that is clearly what they're going to be touching on here, which they then showed a few different items at Titan Toy Expo. I keep wanting to say Teen Titans, but these pictures should be credited to the Find My Figure girls. They were on site and they captured a few photos here. You can see the horse, which was standing behind Death Dealer, which I think is alluded to from that preview just before this. And you can see the bear mount on display with the articulating jaw, removable heads. Seems like it's going to be another awesome mount or partner figure to go with your Savage Crucible, Mythic Legions, and potentially your Brutal Realm figures. You also have something which really caught my eye, Thank you to Toy Bro over on Instagram who captured this. But the stunning forest troll, or whatever this might be, was teased, here on the screen and at the expo. Looking forward to hear more details from Rob and the crew over at Savages about this. A little quick update from Costier Creations, the Tide Realm Corsairs, however you pronounce it. They unveiled their final diorama before LegionsCon, which has Captain Carbius standing within the Dreadtide Reef, surrounded by coral and mystery. You can see this on site, I believe, at LegionsCon in about a week and a half. And the figures were sculpted again, as a reminder, by Four Horsemen Studios. And then the official Kickstarter is coming soon, where they will continue to explore the underworld space. And last but not least, we have Valaverse, who is back again in action with Series 6 and a little preview of the new Medics loadout. Has a ton of collectors hyped up. The gear looks very realistic and appropriate. Blue gloves, trauma tools, even oxygen masks. And I would even say that as far as they nailed all the details in these visuals, hopefully when we see them in person, they'll also replicate that same feel, which I'm sure they will. So from the Crucible to the Coral, Monsters to the Medics, the road to LegionsCon is stacked with heat. Every line's leveling up and every creator's bringing their A game. So stay tuned. Stay tuned to ToyLeet Network News. And as always, keep wonderful. We got any comments we want to cover, Ed?
We got a few. First of all, Brian from Endless Fables is saying he knows a few things about a lot of those things we talked about. So that's a guy we should have on as a guest sometime soon.
Oh, most definitely.
And Plastic Skulls is saying, what's up, Action, Mr. Wonderful, and Terrance's next toy. And Brick spitting it out here, what it decodes to. I'll let you read that so we don't spill the secret, because, you get in trouble if you spill secrets around this toy community.
Yeah, that's why I said it's a horse.
And Matthew bringing up about the Fouche debacle. Yeah, I don't know enough about it because I wasn't involved in any of that. So I have read some of the stuff going around the internet, and it's questionable what happened. So, I mean, I'm not sure what's going on with the partnership with them and the Fresh Monkey Fiction. I know that was talked about a year ago. So I don't know if it's just something that's already been signed and contracted and then it's too late to back out, or what's going on. Yes, and Matthew, you coded it for me really quick, and you told me, yes, I'll give you credit for that.
So let me ask a question. When we say it's about like the Fwoosh skeletons, is that from like the Fwoosh.com, like that toy forum and everything? Is that like the same?
Yeah, Fwoosh.com that Robo used to be a part of. It wasn't the skeletons that were the problem. It was the Ninja Scroll figures. They did a pre-order or a Kickstarter for, and then they have not delivered the figures yet. So,
got you. Yeah, I don't know the whole details there.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Then, it was the same. AJF saying he wishes he could go to LegionsCon. Yeah, I wish I could go too. Just
so do I. So do I.
The budget this year.
Yeah, I want to.
You need that clear eraser. I have 2 clear erasers so far. One's purplish and one's grayish. So I'm guessing this one's going to be completely clear. But as Travis said, we're going for like 300 clears. And then we'll do a Jokerized one as a
well, I'm hoping that someday
McFarlane
at the Halloween con, Ed, I'm really hoping that we can get to 2,000 erasers.
Yes.
Like we'll challenge Terrance to 1,000 Swiggs versus 2,000 erasers and see how it works out. So yeah. No, is that it for the chat?
That's it for the chat, brother.
Awesome. So that's gonna take us into the next slide here, which I'm just gonna jump right in. This is the main topic. Tonight we're gonna be flipping the script though a little bit, because the outside world, the folks not watching us here tonight, obviously, they think collecting toys as adults, we're all kind of weird. That's not what makes us weird, guys. Like, that's not what makes us weird. But we know it's something else that makes us weird entirely. Like, it's something entirely different. It's not shame, though. This toy collecting, it's not plastic shame. It's an expression, I would say, right? So, before we go into the slides, and I got a good one coming up first, but Ed, have you ever had someone look at your collection and hit you with the classic, "Aren't those for kids?"
No. Nope.
Never.
Never.
You don't show it off enough then. That's the problem.
Let me tell you a little story real quick, okay?
Yes.
I was collecting at the time 12-inch Joes and 12-inch figures that were called 21st Century Toys or Ultimate Soldier. And I put a bunch of them on the Christmas list because, they were relatively not expensive, but a decent amount of money. And, I had a couple small kids at the time. So, it was easier to ask for them for Christmas from like my mom and friends and, family and stuff. And my grandfather, within a week span of time, questioned the reason why I had so many piercings and not tattoos, because piercings are for girls and tattoos are for boys, according to him. And then a week later, he was okay giving me like 3 really expensive 12-inch action figures for Christmas. So, I mean, you just can't win, right? You just...
Yeah. What about you, Terrance? Do you ever, get these kind of questions? I mean, you roll up into cons with carts.
That's
Like,
correct. Yeah, I
so
definitely think
like,
I've fully embraced my inner toy collector. It's now on the outside. But I mean, there was a time. I mean, I think I probably had more shaming from being. I was a lifelong comic collector, and but I was also an artist, so I'd always be drawing and stuff like that. So people would sometimes, as a bartender, if it was slow or something like that, and even when it wasn't, I'd be doodling on napkins or cocktail napkins or whatever. And sometimes people would see me drawing a superhero and they'd be like, "Why do you draw superheroes? Isn't that like?" And they would say something derogatory. And but as a toy collector, I do get occasionally if I'm shopping in like a big store like Walmart or Target, somebody will ask me if I'm shopping for a child, and I'll be like, "No, I actually collect these," and so I get that. But I mean, I'm pretty open about it. I work in a country club, so I'm working with older, people generally. And so I'll tell them that, things I'm doing, like people know I'm going away for a week. I'm leaving my job for a week. They know that I have a toy convention coming up. I often take off to go and travel to cons all over the country. So, I mean, I'm pretty open about it. I'm sure there are people who probably, whisper, but I always kind of have the same attitude of people collect all sorts of things, handbags, shoes, whatever. And I kind of feel like mine typically appreciates in value. So I think I'm the smart one, but that's just me.
yeah, and I think I might be the biggest closet plastic collector out of the three of us then, because the shaming I receive, folks, is from my own household. My wife and daughter shame me constantly for collecting little plastic men in tighty whities, as they say. That is literally the quote that I hear constantly. So, as you can see, he's not wearing tighty whities. Those are red trunks, guys. That said, I kind of kept it all to myself for a long time. And as my oldest son was getting a little bit older, and the Mattel figures came out, I didn't really collect up until then. But when the Mattel WWE figures started coming out, they were in scale, and that was like perfect for me. I justified creating an arena, which I'm rebuilding for my youngest son now, for those wrestling figures, and played with them for countless amounts of hours. But I justified it because I was like, there's like dads that set up trains in their basement, and this is like my trains. I don't care about trains. I like wrestling. So that was how I justified it and convinced myself. But I didn't really tell anybody other than the few buddies that would come over and watch wrestling, because if they were coming over to hang out on a Sunday night and watch a $50 wrestling pay-per-view, they already were weird enough, so they could see my plastic wrestlers. But yeah, the shaming I deal with is all from my wife and daughter. That's pretty much where it ends and begins. So yeah.
Well, you guys,
said,
what I did. Gina came to a con with me a couple years ago, and there was somebody selling 3D printed heads, and so she asked if I thought it was weird that she might want to buy some and paint them up, and I said absolutely not. So she picked out 2, and I've encouraged her ever since, and now she's actually somebody who gets invited to put her customs on display at shows and things like that. People have actually recently offered to buy some of her stuff, and she has no idea how to even go about that, and doesn't want to part ways with the things that she created. But so I think if you get somebody who, if you're lucky enough, who not only respects it, but also gets involved in their own way. I mean, I think Ed has met Gina at cons that we've gone to. She's totally into it. I don't know if she's into it as much as I am from the shopping aspect, but she definitely loves the people and the community, and that's huge, and she loves the creativity of it all.
Gina's awesome. Gina is awesome.
I try if I can sneak down to LegionsCon, maybe I'll bring the wife and I'll just be like talk to some of these other wives that are out here hanging out with their husbands.
We have a
They're
whole
all
crew
weird.
called the Legions ladies. I mean, it's
Yeah,
all women that are into Legion. So
see, my wife's not into the plastic toys or anything, but she's an artist. She always been an artist. She went to college for art, right out of graphic design. My son has his artistic ability because of her. I'm confident on that. I can't do it. But I'm like, hey, can you build me a diorama? Like, you would be so good at this. Like, you could make them and I could sell them for you. You'd be so good. No, I want to do that. I'm like, why not? You're so good. And then you could take part. I'm trying. I'm building the dungeon. The dungeon is working on. I'm making enough space for that. And I'm going to push her down there and lock the door. So we'll see.
you're gonna lock
Don't
her in
listen
the
to this
dungeon?
guy. No.
Oh,
I think it might be the point of view that you're coming at her with, Travis. It's still all
Should it
about
work?
you when it should be about her.
I'm trying to let her do it. Like I am. I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. I'm just trying to bridge the gap. And
Oh,
like, you're
I
good
see.
at this. Like for Halloween, I'll share some pictures with you at some point for the Halloween party she had last weekend because like she went crazy and she made a bunch of stuff for the porch and the garage and it was so decorated. It was like a giant action figure diorama. And I'm like, you could do this for toys, but she's like, nah, this isn't what I want to do. And I'm like, whatever. And then I'm like, we should go to LegionsCon. I told her I should take Little Wonder
So,
to
Travis, this
LegionsCon.
is how you get her to start, right? You tell her that you need a small Halloween display for like a figure obscura or some monster character, right? In like 1/12 scale, right? Christmas, whatever it is, right? Just tell her you need a small display because you want to have it set up. So then
My
once
Santa.
she does it, you show it off. And then when people are like, oh, that's awesome, then you just let her see all the comments, right?
I like
Gina's
the way
in
you
the
think.
background saying that's the way you do it. So he agrees with Ed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to bed tonight. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna after this thing. I'm gonna wake her up. She's like, not tonight. I got a headache or something. I'm like, no, that's not what I want. I want to talk to you about this diorama that I want you to make. That's what I want. I don't. No. I kid.
I will say though,
But let's
if you
keep.
do manage to take her to LegionsCon, there's a lady named Tanya McCoy who is the woman who's pretty much behind Legions ladies. I mean, there's quite a few Legions ladies, but in my mind, she is the Legion lady. She does a lot of customs that are based on college mascots and things like that. So she takes mythics and she makes college mascots.
Oh,
She's
that's
awesome.
awesome.
And she's an amazing lady. She's very inspirational, very and I mean, she's not gonna. I wouldn't say she's not pushy. I mean, she's very joyfully enabling. So I think that she's just really great. I mean, Gina, she's become an inspiration for Gina. She's a sounding board for Gina. So I mean, like maybe that would be helpful. I don't know, but she's definitely a great lady to meet, one way or the other.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to bring the wife to LegionsCon. I'm gonna try. That's what I'm gonna do, guys. That's my mission the next week and a half. Door day tickets, LegionsCon. That's my goal.
So Dave's Dimensions here saying he is weird for other reasons. Laugh out loud. I will vouch for Dave. He's definitely a weird dude. I love him, but he's a weird dude. He's a good weird.
Gina says your action figure bill will go up if she gets into it, though. Like mine.
I don't care. I don't care. I love that. I love that.
It'll keep him from hiding boxes in his basement that he forgets about, Terrance.
That's
Instead
true.
of buying
There's
one
quite a
Ghost
bit.
of Christmas Past, you'll end up buying 6 or 7. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I have. So
If she's customizing stuff, yeah, that will happen. That will happen. But I've got a box of Animal Warriors of the Kingdom just sitting in the basement unopened that I had no idea that I had. Because every time there was a sale, either on on Helidope or on Spiro, I was like, oh, gotta grab some of those. That's cool.
yeah, Gina just customized this
I like
one
the
last
colors.
night. So
Make
this
that
is
big,
one of
Travis.
our
Cool.
Swiggs for 1,000 Swiggs, and this is she customized the Century from Cosmic, which is normally grayscale, and she colored this all up in Swig colors, and got all these details in there. So I mean, again, a year or so ago, she wasn't doing this at all, but she's come a long way.
That is really
So you have a Jokerized Tux century there.
There you go.
Green and purple.
Awesome.
Jetman,
So-
real quick, saying his sisters
Oh,
don't
yeah.
understand his hobby of collecting action figures. They think it's stupid. That's all right. And Brick, Travis brought this up. Small money people can suck his plastic. And
We need a shirt. That's it. That's it, Ed. Our shirt is the ToyLeet logo, the new one on the screen right there. On the front and on the back, it is normal people can suck my plastic.
there you
Yes.
go. Small-minded people think the trained people are weird too. The normies are just sad people. Yeah, I agree with that.
That's it. Normies can suck my plastic. I like
Punk
it.
saying, I feel the way that's a way to get a divorce, but Sharlock's wife didn't leave him after Joe Fest. So exactly. Joy toys are cool. Nolan's here as his YouTube handle saying hi to everyone. What's up, Nolan? Making
up,
his
man?
Toy Tube official. Brian saying, Travis, just donate the box of AWOC to him. Just donate to him.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do that, brother. I love me.
We already
some
said
AWOC.
this is
I
a
guess-
charity event that's very selfishly involved. It's just for us.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't
this is not
donate.
for
We
the
take
kids.
donations.
This ain't for the kids, guys. This ain't for the kids. Going into the next slide. This next one, we surveyed 100 people. No, we didn't survey 100 people, but as you can see here on the screen, there are 5 things that are seen as the least attractive male hobbies. You know, they're playing video games. Check. Collecting figurines, check. Magic tricks, I don't know shit except for I tricked my wife into staying married to me for 22 years, so I guess I get credit there. And then number 4, online trolling. It is my favorite thing. My sisters officially blocked me on all contact forms because of it. And gambling. I did go to the casino a couple weeks ago for my buddy's birthday and won $350 on roulette. So I do like all 5 of these things, and somehow
Just a
trick
benefit
number
that
3
you
worked.
married your high school sweetheart and got her hooked before she had a chance to figure out what kind of dude you really are.
Because I was hiding my toys and saying they were my brothers back then. Good thing for little brothers. But
right.
Let's be real, though, right? To most outsiders, we're just grown men playing with toys.
Yes.
They don't see the craftsmanship, the history, the art, how every figure tells a story. And for us, or a lot of us, it's how we stay connected, too, to some of the people that, we've met in the community and in this space, but it also keeps us connected to a piece of who we always were in some way. Even if you're collecting Mythic Legions, I mean, I would have only been 31 at that point. That's not my childhood, but they would give me a feeling of where I was in a place. The Animal Wars: The Kingdom touches so close to that Thundercats and He-Man and all that stuff when I was a kid. The G.I. Joe classifieds, right? That's my, I remember those as childhood. So me, the wrestling figures, it's so much more than just we're a bunch of guys or grown adults. For those that are not just men, and my apologies, I was focusing on me and Ed, but and whatnot. But grown men or grown adults with toys. Ed, why do you think collecting gets such a stigma while other hobbies like sneakers, because there's a massive group of sneakerheads out there, or comic book collectors or car collectors, they get respect, but toy collectors, figurine collectors, they're on this list on the news, right? We're getting chastised by the news. The local news somewhere said this about us.
So, first of all, I think a lot of women probably see some of these streams and YouTube channels where it's nothing but crying about how Hasbro made a toy that I didn't want. So they just realized that there's a good majority of adult toy collectors that are babies.
Time out. So you're telling me this is all Punk's fault?
Yes, it's all.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
But honestly, I mean, in society, I think it's still looked at as toys. I mean, even though it's come a lot farther than it was when I was a younger guy, right? I mean, when I was a young guy, collecting toys was like, you had to be crazy if you were a toy collector. I mean, or you had to be something wrong with you. Then, with all the MCU and all those other movies and stuff, it's become a lot more acceptable to have pop culture and collect things like that. But it's still not mainstream where people still look at the toy aisle like it's for kids. And a lot of, I mean, there are a lot of girls out there that I've known and seen on like Terrance's girl Gina, and Kayla from I forgot the show Kayla's on, but you know Kayla, and a couple
Silver
others.
K?
Yeah, Silver. Yeah, that's the one. Silver Fox.
Yep.
So all these. There's a lot of women that are joining the ranks, but I think a lot of women still see it as childish, even though they just don't know what they're missing, right, Terrance?
I agree. I mean, as far as why do women, one of the things that's come to mind while we were talking about this is that I feel as if toy collecting is something that obviously we're talking about it here, online and whatnot. But I mean, it's not something you generally wear outside when you go outside. Where I think a lot of people think of the things that they collect are shoes, handbags, cars, things that the world sees. Whereas your collection's usually in your house. You know what I mean? It's where you're putting your money, your time, your passion. And I think sometimes people are more concerned about the prestige of the things they collect, where it's more visible. I think sometimes people don't understand that. But I also think, to your point earlier, it's that sticking with your, something from the past, nostalgia. I think it's staying in touch with that inner child of ours that, like, I think is something that a lot of us should nurture and protect, I think, and hold on to, you know what I mean? Like, I just think that as you get older, it's easier to become jaded or more cynical by things. But if you can find something that gives you, a sense of escapism, maybe for some people, or just joy, I mean, like, I don't mean to keep coming back to LegionsCon, but like, so they put out a video earlier this week that's like an hour long about LegionsCon, and it's a great video. And just listening to some of the guys talk about their story, and about their connection to legions and Four Horsemen, I found myself driving because I was listening to it while I drove, and I had an ear to ear smile just listening to their experiences because they were very relatable. And I think so many of us that are toy collectors uh, find connections with each other because of, I mean, I know it's true here. I mean, some of us came from Clubhouse, as an example. That's where I started online as far as YouTube. And, the relationships I formed there with Brick and Oz and you and Joe and so many people there. I give Lawrence grief all the time, but of course, I really care about him. I just like to give him grief. It's just part of the fraternity that I think we all kind of belong to,
Yes.
is the sense that, we if I wasn't the Irish street kid, sarcastic New Yorker that I am, I don't know who I would be. It's just part of my personality. If I didn't like you, I wouldn't give you shit at all. You know what I mean? Like, but like I do that with love, and it's a tough kind of love, I guess. But when I have connections, like just today alone, I'm chatting with Brian. I'm chatting with a lot of guys, like Endless Fables this morning. He contacted me for some tips about taking apart a Swig. I was talking to Crumb 316, about an hour before we came on because he was telling. I just promoted his Swig on my Instagram channel, and I love to promote not just the Swig that they're doing, but their background. Crumb is a former Marine, and I love talking about his service and the things that he's interested. He's on Off-World, and I like yesterday was Freaks Figures, and I talked about his musical background and his effort to try to get to 1,000 subs so he can go live on Wednesday mornings. It's not just the figures; it's the people. You know what I mean? And those connections that we form. I mean, I guess I'm a bartender when I'm not doing this kind of stuff. And I definitely used to be more of a bar fly, and you'd meet people and you'd have those kind of relationships. But there's so many people from around the country who I've formed relationships with now. I reach out and I talk to Oz once in a while when I don't see him on stream, like, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? Just do a check in because, we all have these kind of long distance relationships to some extent. And we may not talk every day, but I mean, I still care. I still want to know what's going on. When you guys were talking about Punk's 36-hour, 39-hour stream, I wasn't part of that, but I'm very happy that he did that, proud that he did it because of the fact that I participated in one that we do on the Cabal called Cabal Cares. And I think in the end, as long as we're all, because again, that same thing, I'm sorry, I'm marathoning here, but the idea being that, we all appreciate child, like thinking and imagination. And I think when we do these Cabal Cares or Toys for Tot type things, it's because of the fact that we know how important it is for kids to have a great childhood. You know what I mean? And they don't always, I know I had a rough childhood. But the thing is, I love to give back and make sure every kid can have a toy and can have that kind of sense of imagination of tactile experience, you know. And so I hope they have that, and I hope they walk away with it in the same way, because I don't think there's enough out there for that anymore. It's a lot of digital stuff now, a lot of tablets and phones and whatnot. So I hope that they are as lucky as we were to grow up with superpowers and Secret Wars and Master Universe Thundercats, all that great stuff. So, you know, in that vein, I think it's important to hold on to, and that's why I celebrate it so much.
Absolutely. No, and I love that. And everything you said there in so many ways, I think, is a reflection of so many of us in this community, right? I know that in some circles, and I mean, we all have our complaints about different things, right? It's life, right? But like at the core, I think most of the community feels like what you said there. There's some bumps along the way, but like, at the end of it, we all enjoy what we enjoy, and we want to pass that on to another generation. We have streams where we've talked about that, right, Ed? So I think, it's not just toys, it's not just plastic, and we're not just grown adults playing with it, right? It's the art, it's the mystery, it's the imagination, it's the smell, the feel, that crinkle, the cracking, all of that, going all the way back to when you were a kid. So no, that's awesome, Terrance. Yeah, so they may be unattractive hobbies, but let's put like ladies, you're getting a rich guy if he's spending the kind of money he is on these legions and things like that.
I gotta point this out about this list you got here, Travis, though, right? Like, if you take a look at this list and you go playing video games and doing magic tricks and
I know
online
right where you're
sports
going.
and gambling, right? All of those are hobbies that everybody does. Maybe not a hobby, but pastimes we've all experienced, right? There are people that collect figurines and that's all they do, right? They collect them, leave them in boxes, and they stick them on a shelf or in a cabinet with glass covering them, and they try to keep them pristine because it's going to someday be their retirement fund or whatever the case may be, right? Which we all know it's not going to happen. They might appreciate in value, but you're never going to they're never going to be as valuable as what they mean to you at the time. But if you take a look at most people that collect figures that in our community that we talk to regularly and stuff, right? More of it's really about like the art behind it, whether it's customizing or photography or, building the dioramas and the setups or making movies, telling stories. And then there's also the whole part of, just the camaraderie that we've all developed. I mean, on Punk's 36-hour stream, he had there was 5 of us, I think, online on stream at one time. They were all veterans, right? And we were just talking about like how collecting GI Joe as a kid made us join the service, or how after leaving the service it made us collect GI Joes, or vice versa, whatever it is, right? And I've seen a lot more military guys start collecting over the last 5 years than ever before. So I think there's just a lot more to be said about collecting figurines than probably the other 4 on the women's most hated list.
No, and the way I look at it is I could put a list of 10 things I bet you they're happy we're not doing, and we're collecting those figures. Drugs, alcohol,
My ex-father-in-law
like there's a whole bunch of stuff you could be doing that's not appropriate.
my ex-wife that one time. She said something to him about, how I was in my garage, painting some action figure or something. And his response to her was, well, at least he's not out at the bar till 2:00 in the morning blowing his entire paycheck.
There you go.
Right?
There
she
you
was
go.
like, yeah, I guess
Instead, he's on
with that.
Instead, he's on BBTS and Hello
Right.
Toys blowing his
Now at that time, I wasn't
He's
doing
at
it.
home.
I wasn't buying as much
But
because I was definitely had three small kids I had to worry about. But,
No, I'm kidding. I'm
the
kidding.
point was, I wasn't out getting drunk every night. I wasn't out, doing the things I did before, I got married, when I was collecting half-ass. Before I found the really art part of it, right? So,
Right, absolutely.
let's hit the chat real quick, Travis.
Go ahead.
Action Joe Figs is saying he's had his Joe since the 70s, and he has a terrific wife who appreciates his passion for the hobby. Well, that is awesome, AJF. I'm happy for you, and we love your wife because she loves you.
Absolutely.
Dead Man is here with Toy Mercs and giving the cheers. What's up, Dead Man? And Jeff from Skunkworks Studios here saying, let's fucking
Jeff.
go. What's up, Jeff? And AJF just recently lost his mom, and my collection takes me back to a simpler time as a child with his mom until she threw away most of my figures. Love your mom. Yeah, that happened to a lot of us back then. I remember my uncle came home from the Marines, and my grandma had garage saled all of his adventure team figures for, a lot for like $5 or whatever, right? There was tons of figures, tons of uniforms, accessories, and all that. And he was not happy. And he still holds a grudge to this day. He's like 65 and she's been gone for many, many years. So, and Clint Jorgensen, what's up, brother? Good to see you here, Clint.
Hey, Clint.
Wasn't this poll determined to be made up? Whether it was or not, I can guarantee you that I've heard that from women. So, Brian saying, Travis, I'm going to get my wife to do the armor experience with me and get her to build a figure for me. That's awesome.
So I saw that in the comments. I thought that's a cool idea. Maybe if I
Yeah.
bring her, I can get her to do that. But the only thing is, I mean, I don't collect a ton of the Legions, the Mythic Legion figures. Like, there's a few of them.
You're missing the
So,
point.
like,
You get your wife to go and build you a figure.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we can get her to do it. I gotta get her. I gotta get her in the door first. I gotta get her in the door.
Get her in the door first.
We'll see.
Mark Lonke saying, thanks, Terrance. And Brian saying his niece is 6 years old, walked into his toy room and said, Uncle Brian, you have way too many toys. You have more than I do. Yeah, I've had that happen before with some of my younger nieces and nephews. Yep.
That's a great statement right there.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my goal.
Play.
I don't know if you saw it. There was
play.
a video somebody had up, and I don't know if it's new or it's been around, but I saw it on Instagram. It was like I guess somebody had one of those Ring cameras like in their collection room, and there's a guy who comes to work on the house, and he walks in, and it's all Transformers, and it's like a bunch of detox Transformers. This guy, like, they've got the sound, and the guy's looking around, he's like, "This is fucking cool!" Like, he's like so like blown away by it, like. He's by himself, but it's just him really emoting over how much he's like enamored by this collection. And I can appreciate that. Gina's told me stories about when people have come to the house and been like, who, like, this is incredible. Like, because he sees all the Legions figures and everything else. And like, I kind of worry sometimes. I'm like, that guy's going to come back and rob me an hour later.
Yeah. It's one of those things, like whether you're a collector or not, right? When you see a Transformer or even a Mythic Legions, that looks like a knight or a barbarian, right? There's a memory that it sparks, even if you're not a collector, right? My brother come over, he hasn't seen my collection in years because when we do see each other, we're either out at the we go out for drinks on Saturday and have dinner and just catch up, and then we either meet at my mom's house or a family member's house, right? So he hasn't been in my house in a while. So he came here a couple weeks ago, walked in, saw my dioramas, and he was just like, oh, wow, this is so awesome. That's really cool, right? This is really cool. And the whole time, I know he's just thinking like, yeah, I remember we sat down and watched Conan together when we were, you were 10 and I was 11, right? I mean, it's just those kind of things. It's just a spark, right?
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So kind of, everybody hits the moment though. I mean, I feel like everyone's had that kind of moment where somebody might mock the hobby until they see the value or the community behind it, which you kind of talked about, right? But it's funny how fast their judgment kind of turns into curiosity once people realize what what this is all about, right? I've had times where, I'd have buddies over and I'd be like, oh yeah, or more recently we were doing an icebreaker on a call at my new job, and they were all talking like, what's something that, like, your parents still pick on you about today? And I'm like, well, my mom still picks on me because I wanted to be a wrestler. I collected wrestling toys, and I still collect wrestling toys. But I said, but I have a patent for a display stand, and I have that in place. And like, I turned that into something else. So like, I own that. That's something I'll forever own, is this patent that I created for a design of a stand. And they were like, oh, so like, they're like, really? And then they're like, do you need any of these? She's like, oh, I wish I knew. Over the summer I had a garage sale and I gave away all these wrestling figures. I wish I had known. And like, so they kind of realized, like, they at first, they were kind of like, what the heck's this guy saying? Like, you know what I mean? There's always like that, like, but then they're like, oh, that's not so bad. And it's like, it's not, it doesn't seem as weird when they start listening and they get, well, it's, my brother-in-laws pick on me because they work on their cars and they build things and stuff. And I'm like, well, my kids, they might not remember me going out to the car and changing the oil or the brakes on my car because I took it to the dealership and paid somebody to do it. But my kids are going to remember all the times I crawled on the floor with them and I played with their toys right next to them. Like, they're going to remember that. like I've taught them plenty of other things that they need to know, but like they're gonna remember those moments. My youngest, he's 15, and like he, whenever I see a new Savage figure or a new WWE figure that he likes, like I open it up on my phone and I show him that, and I'm like, look, I'm like, hey, did you see they announced this? And he's like, oh, do they have this one, Dad? Do they have this one? And we look through those, so like it's those memories. So and when I tell people that, they're like, oh, like who am I to judge, right? So like, have
those
you?
icebreaker questions when you're at a new job or like in a meeting and you're meeting new people, right? It's always like, tell us one weird fact about you. And I'm like, do I want to bring this up to this group, right? Like I remember one time I was in a meeting with the CEO of our company, right? He's like got 10 companies that he's in charge of, and there's a bunch of other hot shots in there, the CFO and stuff. They're like, I want everybody to share one weird fact about yourself. And I'm like, do I want to tell them about the growth on my leg, or should I tell them about, my action figure collection, right? It's like, I tell them about the action figure collecting. But then
and it's funny
at
'cause I
first
always
they're all like, "Oh, that's kind of strange," and then, like you said, questions start popping. Like, what do you mean you collect action figures, right? Well, military themed action figures or fantasy based action figures, and they're like, "Oh, what do you mean?" I'm like, show them. Next thing I know, I got my phone out and I'm scrolling through Instagram or the pictures I took over the weekend, and they're like, "Oh, you took
Yep.
those? Those are awesome! Wow!"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, it's more than just putting the plastic, on a shelf and staring at it obsessively."
It's there's been times where there's like those two truths and a lie intros.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, I have if I was asked it today, it would be like, I have a 22-year-old son. I was a pro wrestler, and I collect action figures. And they're all like, you don't have a 20, you never were a wrestler. Like all of them could like, for the most part seem like they're bullshit. And then I'm like, nah, they're all true. Like every one of them's true. And it's like, wait a minute.
Well,
Okay,
pro
so you have
wrestler's a stretch, but okay.
Yeah, it was on the indies, dude. I laced up the boots. And I shared a ring with Tony Atlas. I shared a ring with King Kong Bundy, and
I'm
I
just
shared a ring.
busting your balls, man.
I
I'm just
shared a
busting
ring
your
with Doink the
balls.
Clown. That counts.
It does. I'll give it to you.
Only because of Doink,
But
though.
You messed up the game, but I'll give it to you.
yeah. So that said, Ed, have you ever kind of gone? I mean, you kind of allude to it, right? With your brother, he came in. I mean, he doesn't necessarily give you a hard time, but have you ever, like had a situation, or do you have situations where people kind of clown you for collecting, to wanting their own?
No, not really. All my friends that I hang out with outside of here, right? I have 4 or 5 really good friends that I go on these guys trips that I go on every year. Every single one of them, one collects Warhammer, the other guy collects GI Joe Adventure Team, the other guy's a Green Lantern fan and a comic book fan. They're all just nerds. And then my family, I have an uncle who is a fiction author. I have an uncle who, the one that was a Marine, he's collecting, military Joes from the 60s still, and he's 65 years old. So I mean, it's never been a thing in my circle to be like, ashamed of it, right?
It does make me think sometimes, though, like, from generation to generation, like, we grew up probably with guys that were, from the 40s and 50s and stuff like that. It makes you wonder, like, skipping 20, 30 years into the future, like, you're going to have a bunch of 80-year-olds that are all still collecting action figures, maybe. You know what I mean? So it's going to be kind of interesting.
My
Like,
dad is 76, and when he was a young guy, right, his big thing was he was always a car guy. So as a young guy, he was always building plastic model kits, right? So recently he had double knee surgery. So while he's been recovering, he's been building plastic model kits, been ordering them off of Amazon and painting them and building them up and enjoying himself. I'm like, good for you, dude. And he's loving it. Like I've never seen him so happy. I went over there the other day and he's like, look at this one, right? He's got a 58 it was 57 Plymouth Fury, right? Painted it all up, beautiful. And he's like, check this paint job out. And of course, he's showing it off. My mom's like, hey, drip paint on the floor. And I had to scrub it off because he couldn't get down on his knees, right? He's like, I didn't know, right? It was going to run. I forgot how runny the paint was, right? And it was really funny. But, I was like so proud of him because he was just like, it reminded me of him when we were younger and, we'd play baseball or, Christmas morning or something where, I haven't seen him like that in a long time where he's actually like joyful. Right. So it was.
that's phenomenal.
So, Terrance, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it. So, have you ever had a backhanded compliment about your toys and your collecting?
Um,
Like a kind of like a backhanded way, like where it's like, "Ah, yeah, you're not too old for that," like something like that. You know, do you ever
Probably not
get
about
that
my
from anybody?
age. I mean, I think my ex-wife probably still makes a lot of comments about like my spending, but but I mean, because before I got as heavily into action figures, I had gone through probably about almost a decade of Lego. And
Wow.
we had a garage that we didn't park a car in; it was just all Lego. I eventually sold all those Legos, went more into action figures, and I probably sold, I think it was like $70,000 worth of Lego.
Whoa.
So it was a serious Lego collection. But
Yeah.
yeah, she never appreciated any of that stuff. I mean, she appreciated the fact that I was creative and an artist and stuff like that. But like, she still to this day will make comments on like on the spending part of it. You know what I mean? Because and it's funny like I sent her, because we're still very close managing, raising my son together. But like I had sent her stuff about because I was really proud of Thousand Swiggs last year, and I wanted her to see some of the videos that were made about it and stuff like that. And it was like, yeah, I'd send them to her, and I'd ask her a year later because Liam's coming to LegionsCon for the first time this year, and I
Awesome.
would say, hey, did you see the video? So because she'd be like, that swig thing you're doing, I'd be like, yeah, did you check out the 7-minute video I just sent you? And she'd be like, I don't have time for that. I'm like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, it was kind of a big thing for me. Like, she's a musician. I would go to her like recitals and things like that. And I still go to things once in a while for her. And I'm like, God damn, I sat through like a 2 or 3 hour thing. She can't find 7 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, it's just that's the reality of it. You know what I mean? So
And that's why you're not married any longer.
and that's why I have a woman in my life that loves all that stuff and
There you
appreciates
go.
it. And and so you got to find the right person. You know what I mean? And who respects you as much as you respect them. That's all I can say.
Hey, I'll tell you
Well, what I
Terrance,
think I just heard there.
Tina is great, but I will vouch for Travis's lady too, his wife, because a couple years back at PowerCon, he got her to go to PowerCon when they were supposed to go. It was attached to another family vacation or something like that. And Travis got a table at PowerCon, got to bring the son of Wonder in, and she dropped his ass off at the door and picked his ass up at the door, taking care of the other kids while he's off playing around with his friends and his toys, right? So I mean, he's got a good
Just a
woman. She
couple
might
days,
give him a hard time, but he's got a good one.
just a couple days before our 20th anniversary.
Yep.
So, yes, I can say that she is the most supportive individual I could ask for. I wouldn't be half the man I am today if it wasn't for her. Now I just have to convince her to come into the fold and
He
bring
wouldn't be
her
half
in.
the man he is today if she
Let me
didn't
in.
look so good too. So I mean,
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That is so true. So
Tina
true.
says if she likes coffee, she can get her in. You know what I mean? Like they can bond over coffee.
She's not a coffee drinker, but we'll
Oh,
figure
she
it
got
out.
it.
We'll figure it out. She will
I
figure
like
it
Gene
out. She
even
likes
more now
chocolate.
that I know that coffee's my life.
Oh man. Okay,
Let's
cool.
hit the chat
So,
real quick,
oh,
Travis,
go
before we
for
hit
it.
the next screen. Jetman saying I have really bad stress and head problems, and collecting helps me, kind of calms me down. That's good, man. That's what you got to do. You got to find that thing that takes you back, relaxes you, and that's what it's all about. Tony's Figs. All my figures are forced to watch me bed down the chicks I bring in here. They love it. It's because I'm also a great dancer, I guess. Yeah, I'm sure you're a great dancer, Tony.
I think he just gave us like 6 lies and no truth.
Right. Wraith Maze is here. What's up, Wraith? What's going on, brother? Long time no see.
Hey man.
Jetman saying the guys in this community are the only friends that he has. Well, we're glad to be your friend, brother.
Well, we're happy you're here, man. We're happy you're here, brother.
And Ted Darklaw. Hello, friends. Long day
That's
of
my
driving.
guy.
Falling asleep to this in a good way. Thanks, brother. Enjoy your nap. All right, man. We're caught up.
Awesome. So, this is where we're gonna flip it, though, right? Because we've been talking about kind of how they dog us. Yes, I'm talking to you people out there that say that we just collect little plastic men in tighty whities. The 2 people that say that to me, yeah, I'm talking to you. This is where we're gonna flip it, right? Instead of
We
hiding
know that you
our
prefer your
passion-
men bare chested and loincloths more than tighty whities, though. So
Barbarians, yes.
that's right.
Where are you, Hercules? Where are you, He-Man? this is where we're going to flip it though, right? Because we're going to talk about, instead of hiding our passion, right? Instead of being, closet fans or whatever, we're going to talk about how we can show it off, right? That's what's going to separate collectors from hoarders. We create experiences, we build displays, we tell stories through our figurines, right? So Ed, this one's for you first, and I'll go over to you, Terrance. But Ed, how are you sharing your displays or toy photos change the way others see your hobby? How do you think sharing your photos and displays um, has
Well,
kind of changed how
I
maybe
gotta tell
people?
you this, right? Like I'll go back to my dad. Not that my dad ever like was negative about me collecting toys, right? But like once I got to be a teen, I was still, going to the toy section and buying toys when I got an allowance, or when I started working as a dishwasher, I'd spend a little bit of money at the local department store buying, an action figure, two, sometimes more. But my dad was always a car guy, right? And he was hardcore, right? You work, you save your money, and on the weekends, you out here in the garage helping me fix cars, right? So I learned a lot about cars. And I tell you what, to this day, I hate working on cars. I never enjoyed it. Don't enjoy it now. I can do it, don't enjoy it, right? But probably over the last maybe 10 years since he's retired from being a mechanic and stuff, every time I see him, he's like, "Hey, what you working on?" I show him a picture of my diorama, or whatever one of the thousand that I'm working on, or some of my photos, and he's just like in awe that I created this or that or took these pictures, right? And like I think that feedback from him is probably the greatest feedback that I get. I mean, my son tells me all the time how awesome this one is and all that, and my daughters do the same. And mom's always been supportive of it, even though she's crazy in her own way. But my dad giving me that positive feedback that that's a really cool thing you built is probably the best thing for me, right? And outside of that, I'm always putting pictures up on Instagram of things that I whip together. So
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, no, I'm sure that helps with the passion, right? Having that ability to have those around you be supportive of it for sure.
oh
And
yeah.
then parents, when you're either customizing or posing your work, do you feel like you're teaching people that this is art? It's not just a toy, or maybe teaching them it's something else, right?
Yeah, I think it's a
I mean, with
combination of
Legos,
things.
you're building.
Yeah, I mean, when I got into Mythic Legions a couple years ago, I was not a customizer at all, and I mean, I still don't know if I really classify myself as a customizer, but I definitely mess with my figures. I used to look at these figures and be like, can I really take a $40 or $60 figure and rip it apart and do something different with it? Like, it felt like I was like breaking like a Van Gogh or something, but which is a ridiculous comparison. But I just
No, it's
couldn't
not.
think of doing it, and I'd be like, what am I gonna do? Buy a second one because I'm gonna want one in the original condition. Anyway, but I did it the first time, and it was funny. It was so freeing, and now I buy as many as I need because I just look at them as canvases, and I really enjoy it. I think outside of my own personal enjoyment and the artistic expression, I think things like the Thousand Swigs, it's been awesome to be able to post stuff up there and then hear the stories. Last year when we did Thousand Swigs, so many people came to us and told us it was the first time that they had ever customized or picked up a brush or done something like that, and that I remember being stressed in the morning of it, thinking, what if we don't get anybody? But when people started coming in and telling us their stories about how their daughter made this swig or how they made a swig, it just was, I didn't care anymore about the number. I just felt like we had done something bigger because people were being creative and having fun and finding a newer way of expressing themselves. So to me, that was really the takeaway.
That's awesome. And that's actually a perfect segue into the next slide, which is LegionsCon. And of course, I've got to make it all wrestling like here with SwiggMania and 1,000 Swigs Mania this weekend, right? Or not this weekend, in 2 weekends, right? So we're going to kind of step into LegionCon, right? I'm going to cover a couple pieces here. I got a bunch of questions for you. We're going to spend a little bit more time on this slide because I want to tie into what you've been taking ownership of. But if we take a step back and we look at this is LegionsCon. And this plays into, it's actually perfect timing because like you said, they had that hour video that came out, and then I wasn't gonna watch it. I just didn't have time. I had it in my watch later video, and then Sunday night, because my boys over at Hella Dope Toys weren't on and I was working in the dungeon, I wanted something to watch, so I tuned into, what are their names? Jeremy was on a show.
Probably
You probably
shooting
know.
the show.
Yes, that's the one. Thank you.
Doing the
Curtis
shelf,
and
right? That's on
Jesse.
Sundays.
Yeah, and who runs that?
That's Curtis Ackerman
Jesse.
and Jesse Arnold.
Yes, Jesse and Curtis. Yes. So I was in there watching that show, just listening, and heard Jeremy talking a bunch, and they talked about that video, and I was like, I'm gonna have to watch that. So I listened to it while I was working the other day, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. And again, it's kind of like, oh, I gotta find a way to LegionsCon. I was already kind of like really trying to find a way to LegionsCon this week, in a couple weeks before that, but that really got me pumped up, and one of the things that kind of they talked about was it's a safe place, and I thought that was cool, but like it kind of plays into like what we're talking about here is that like plastic shame and not being ashamed and being able to enjoy yourself. Sounds like if you've been to LegionsCon, which you have, Ed and I haven't. I was supposed to attend a couple years ago, had some issues with production, things like that I had to pull back out. I do plan to, hopefully be a vendor. I know it is very difficult to do that. I do hope to be one in the future, but I am more hoping to be an attendee later on this year, in a week, if I can convince the spouse to go and be a part of it too. But they talked about it being a safe place, kind of nobody's judging people, everybody's just celebrating. And SwiggMania kind of is proof of that, because Jeremy talked about how, and I don't know if I mixed up the show that I listened to him on and then the pre-recorded one. In one of them, he talked about how SwiggMania kind of, it came together organically, but not because they did anything to make this, 1,000 Swigs challenge, right? That was really, the community and Terrance, like you were like leading charge on that, from what I could see.
Yeah.
Um,
So with that, in regards to how that all started, so Jeremy, the story is in reality, when they were doing the ordering sheet for the figure, Jeremy made a clerical mistake on the order form and ordered 1,000
Yeah.
extra Swiggs. That was kept quiet at first, and they had done the mystery boxes a little bit after that had happened. So they thought this would be a good opportunity to maybe get some Swigs out in the world, because we were going to get two figures. And so a lot of extra Swigs went into the mystery boxes. And I guess people picked up on that. So there was a little bit of pushback in the community being like, hey, how did I get a Swig? I got two Swigs, whatever it was. And when that was all happening, I had gone on to the Cabal and said, hey, we're all going to go to LegionsCon. Jeremy had come up with a story about what the 1,000 Swigs were, why they existed. He made a canon story that basically was, Swig works for King Noglin, and King Noglin wants the goblins to be super powerful. So he wants his alchemist Swig to whip up a potion that will give a single Swig the power of 1,000. Swig's kind of like not really the most, he's not the greatest alchemist. He's a little bumbling. So he tries this potion out that they make him take because they don't have a lot of faith in him. They give him the potion forcefully, and then they throw him in the dungeon because nothing seems to happen. But when Swig wakes up in the dungeon, he's now surrounded by more Swigs. And so instead of making one Swig the strength of 1,000, he makes 1,000 of himself. And so this is where all these Swigs came from. So I said, hey, why don't we try to bring the story to life? Why don't we bring all the Swigs to LegionsCon? Another part of the story was that at the end of it, King Noglin says, all right, well, we're not going to let this go to waste. We'll let the Swigs go off into the world, and they will become spies. So I said, hey, listen, everybody has the opportunity to make their Swig into whatever they want it to be. And to your point, as far as SwiggMania, there actually was a Hulk Hogan Swig last year on the table. He was a classic yellow and red Hulk Hogan. I think we have a Hollywood Hogan coming this year that they profiled. So, we've seen some wrestling tributes within the 1,000 Swigs. We've seen superheroes. We've seen everything. And people
Did you
go
see?
outraged. Go again.
Did you see Swig Cena? Because I don't think anybody could see him.
He's on the table, but you'll never see him. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So there'll be 999 there this year, is what we're hearing.
That's what I'm going to say.
But there's really
as far as
1,000.
numerical count. You know what I mean? So.
Awesome. So I didn't know the backstory. I feel like I read it and briefed it like a year ago when they first came out with it. But is it safe to say Swig is kind of like a Gargamel from the Smurfs? He's just like a bumbling buffoon when it comes to like crafting up problems or crafting up this stuff.
He's a little bit more relatable and lovable than that. So I mean, like the thing is, I kind of think that another reason he's become very popular, I'd say, and loved now in the community, and I think it's because Mythic Legions is made up of all these incredible warriors and vile villains and monsters. And like the thing is, there's not a lot of struggling characters. I kind of think that, amongst the fandom, the community, most of us are. I kind of would make the analogy like Marvel Comics back in the 60s. Up until that point, superheroes were very successful guys when they weren't superheroes. They were rich Bruce Wayne, or they were intrepid reporter Clark Kent. But when you got Peter Parker as an example in the 60s, suddenly you had a kid who never had enough money. His aunt was sick, everything like that. I kind of feel like Swig got that same kind of energy going. Like he's worried about punishment from King Noglin. He's trying to come up with the best potion possible. It doesn't always work, but he gets happy action. You know what I mean? And so I think we've taken kind of, and some people take it the humorous way, where it could be a funny thing where he has some funny thing where he gets turned into a pig or he gets turned into some creature. But I mean, other people have taken it more of a horror way, more of a monstrous way, more of a powerful magician way. And I think that, it leaves it open to interpretation, which what I like about it is, in the same way that you're going to make up a swig, it's kind of the same way we all have the ability to kind of redevelop ourselves at any time that we want, and we can decide, maybe you're going to be an awesome toy photographer, or maybe you're going to come up with some great idea to sell at PowerCon and future cons and patent something. I mean, so at some point or another, you guys came to that conclusion for yourselves. And I think that's the same thing that you can do with a swig. You can kind of say, what spin would I take on this character? It kind of creates this, fixed kind of canvas of what will I do with this $37 figure? How will I turn it into something different? And everyone takes their own shot at it. And I think it just opens it up and makes this great community creativity outlet, this art installation that we've come to call it as. So, yeah.
That's awesome. No, I love it, and I listened to how it came. So I'm just curious on what percentage of the surplus your SwiggMania has generated you from the Four Horsemen. No, I kid.
Yeah.
But what does you've been to LegionsCon. What do you have to say about how strong and inclusive the community is or has become, and what it's like? I'm sure you're going to echo some of what we heard on that video the other day.
I
but,
will. I don't think I'm going to say anything that hasn't been said before, but what I constantly say, and I'm not in a paid video from LegionsCon or Full Horseman. I'm not an employee of the studio. I'm somebody who went to PowerCon, the same PowerCon you were at in 2023. And because of Joe Gonzalez and other guys who were already collecting the line, I was a He-Man fan. I was a Master Universe fan. I was going to go there to get the Master Universe tribute figures. That's all I was going to get. And then I saw the Headless Horseman. And I saw a couple of Cosmic figures that were on display that weren't even available for sale yet. And I talked to somebody at the table who was from the studio. I didn't know who they were at the time. I've since come to know almost everybody at the studio, but because they're so accessible. And they, told me, oh, well, we have this con that we do in New Jersey in November, and that's when some of these figures were going to be available. And I was like, okay, really? And I used to travel to cons like Columbus, Ohio for PowerCon and San Diego Comic-Con, New York Con. I'm originally from New York, but I live in Florida now. But I travel quite a bit. I go to cons in North Carolina and San Diego, all over the place. And so for me to think about, should I go check out this con in New Jersey? Because I think I like these figures a lot. I did it, and I am now determined I will never miss another LegionsCon if I can help it. Because it is different than any other con I've ever been to. And like I said, I go to San Diego Comic Con, I go to New York Comic Con, I go to all these big cons. But it's a combination of the energy, the people, and it's kind of a weird thing to say, because when you think about it on paper, it's a convention for a single studio product, for the most part. Yes, they invite in Spiro and they invite in all these other things, but it's not like a New York Comic Con or a San Diego Comic Con where you're going to find hundreds of different products from different vendors. You know what I mean? I mean, you're going to have people that create third-party stuff for Legion for the most part, but it's a community that's built itself around these products. And the sense of belonging, the sense of community. When I talk to people, they think I'm talking about a cult sometimes, which is funny, because there is this mentality. But like going to Joe Fest, great con, going to ToyLeet, great con, it still feels like it doesn't have the same. To me, LegionsCon is my Super Bowl of the year. It's the one I look forward to the most. And it's crazy that I went from being an attendee one year to an organizer of an event the next year. And as far as being a vendor, being an attendee, I think it's probably more fun to be an attendee, because even the Sunday that I give up to do 1,000 Swiggs, I feel like I miss out on stuff on the floor. And I'm not saying that complaining. It's just a matter of, I hear the other guys who are vendors and they say, like, they wish they could get out on the floor and see more of the stuff there, because you can walk around there all weekend long and you're going to miss things. There's just so much to see, so much creativity, so much art, dio makers, 3D sculptors, printers. And the thing is, it's not even what's in the show as far as shopping. It's you go out in the lobby and people hang out till all hours of the night chatting, which you will see at Joe Fest to some extent. I know Ed has been to Joe Fest and I've been there, and you can hang out in the lobby. But the thing is, it's the party doesn't stop. I mean, there are people who literally. I'm not sure if you guys know Recon Rage, Blake. He's doing Mythic Muscle this year, so he's actually, and he's a former wrestler as well for WWE. I think he was in the development program, but
What's his name?
Blake. His screen name online is Recon Rage, but his name is Blake. You can probably find him in the Cabal. He's also on Off World along with Curtis as well. He he's great. He's a former Marine, former law enforcement, great guy, and he's actually heading up Mythic Muscle. So about 5 o'clock in the morning, there's going to be people doing workouts in the gym with him. He's 58 years old, and he's impressive. His stamina, his energy level, his fitness level. But like, I'm going to go join him. You know, I want to get in there with him and try to do the best I can. But I'm going to do that at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and there's going to still be people walking back to their room from the lobby because they're still hanging out. Because there are people who just, and there are people who don't even get rooms. It's kind of, I've never seen anything like it, but there are people who just kind of hang out, and I don't mean that in a weird kind of like creepy guy under a table kind of way. But there are people who they just hang out all weekend. It's like a 72-hour marathon, and they live on coffee and energy drinks and whatnot. And but the sense of family there, we always say it's like a toy show with a family reunion going on inside of it, or a family reunion with a toy show going on, because there's people there that you don't see all year long. There's people that you don't see for 6 months at a time. You know, some people, because I do so many cons, I do run into some people, but there are some people, this is the only con they go to, so this is the only chance you're going to run into them. We get people over from Europe and the UK and Africa and Asia that come in just for this con, and it's incredible. It's just a lot of fun, and everyone's got stuff going on. You know what I mean? There's always people talking about the projects they're working on, and there's networking going on. There's people that are just showing off toy photography. There's, you know, obviously Trevor's there, and you know he's probably one of the more notable photography people in the toy community. But you know, you'll have tons of people. Kevin M. Boots, 77, is one of our sponsors this year at 1000 Swiggs. He's a phenomenal photographer. I'm sure you've probably seen his work as well. I'm not sure if John's coming, Emerald Knight. I don't know if he makes it out for this con, but you know, he's somebody who would be definitely welcome. He's done a lot of great mythic photography. And all of that's, you know, there's something for everybody in that regard. There's people that are sculptors, there are people that are photographers, dio makers, soft good makers. And they're all like on this equal playing field, and everyone's always like just nerding out over, geeking out over each other's stuff, because they're all trying to figure out like, man, that cape would be perfect on this custom I'm making, or this head would be great on this idea I have. And they're talking, and some people are actually coming up with ideas and giving it to somebody, and then they're going to go home and they're going to sculpt that up digitally, and it'll probably be made for them within 3 months or something like that. So it's just such a great, it feels like a big artist commune to some extent, you know what I mean? And you don't have to be into that, you can just be a fan. But I mean, there's a guy named Dennis Derby who I love watching because he'll put on a paint session in the lobby, and you'll just see about 50 people just like surrounding him, either painting with him or just watching him paint to pick up tips and techniques. And you know,
Like pictures or like figures?
he paints whole figures, but he'll paint head sculpts. And he's been doing it for years. But like, it's just so great to watch. You know, people, because there's no, and Curtis will say this, but it's true. There's no gatekeeping. You know, everyone shares the tips and techniques. You know, if you walk up to somebody, even though they're a vendor and they're selling this stuff, they're glad to usually tell you how they did it. You know, I always feel bad because I love to make dios. So when I go to these things, I can't help but steal with my eyes. You know, I'm looking at them and I feel terrible because, like, unless I come to the rationale in my head that I'm really never going to find the time to build it, I probably won't actually pay for it. You know what I mean? Like, because in my head, I'm sitting there going, yeah, I can see how they scored the foam, and I can see how they did this, and they definitely painted it this way. And I'm taking photos and going, I'm going to try to recreate that. You know what I mean? Like, but this year's a little different. I've really accepted there's certain projects I'm never going to get to, and I'd rather have them on my shelf. So I think I might be buying some diodes if I can figure out how to get them home safely, you know. But there's just so much great stuff there, and you know, it's not just the action figures. And I also say it's not just the toys either, because this year we're going to have. I'm actually going to be GMing, game mastering one of the role playing game sessions for the Kickstarter that's coming out in February. I'm super excited about that. I'm so glad that they actually asked me and invited me to do that. And that's going to be an incredible experience for people that are looking for the role playing aspect, which I think is going to be another thing that brings community people together to play online or to play in person. And so there's just so many things like that. They're also doing a lot of streams and podcasts from the that are on the schedule. And then there's the little thing called Thousand Swigs that's going on too. But outside of all that, so,
What is it?
Thousand Swigs. I don't know if anyone's heard
Oh
about it.
yeah. It's
Terrance, while we're talking about 1,000 Swigs, you should mention your hotline.
Yes, so we do have the hotline. Actually, Gina, can you pull out that number? It's 50 Swig 143. So that's 50, and then if
Want to
you
put a
type in-
comment? Want to put that up as a comment?
Yeah. So Gina, can you actually type into the chat, please? But Gina and I actually run a call center for anybody who's looking to get in touch for finding out information about the Swigs. We did a similar thing back when they were doing the Bayatheer campaign, where we were running the Bayatheer call center. We've repurposed it now for Thousand Swigs. So lots of your great questions that you might have. I don't know if you want to call it in live. I don't know if you have that capability, but if you wanted to, people can hear what the hotline sounds like. But if not, they can call it on their own. But it is a very informative hotline that tells you all you need to know about, you know, what's happening at Thousand Swigs, how to get involved in it, about the prizes, the raffles. That we have a lot of great sponsors this year. I should mention some of them: Josh Brown Customs, Dirk's Designs, Wolf King Customs. Kevin M. Boots 77, who I mentioned earlier, is actually going to be doing some stuff. Gang Studios, which actually makes coloring books for Legions. This year they're doing Little Legions, so it's almost like cartoony, cute versions of the Legions characters. Their Swig is actually on the cover, and he'll actually be three-dimensionally available, or not available, but he'll be present on the Thousand Swigs table. He looks awesome.
The Swig Nation Hotline, the home of 1,000 Swigs art installation at LegionsCon. We're just 2 weeks away from the gathering of the Swig family. Family photos will be promptly at 1 p.m. on Sunday, November 9th. Swig and their Legionnaire transport team, that's you, can start gathering as early as 11 a.m. and pickup is at 1:15. We're here to answer your FAQs about the 1,000 Swigs event. Number 1, is this a real event? Yes, absolutely. This is real and it is fun. It is a real fun event. Number 2, will I get my Swig back? Yes, Swig's team of certified Swig handlers will help you tag your Swig for safe return. Last year they had a 100% success rate of return. Swig will accept nothing less than perfection from his team. Number 3, do I need to stay with my Swig? Nope. Just follow the Swig daycare drop-off and pick-up instructions so you can drop off your Swig and go back to the show floor. Just return by 1:15 to pick up your Swig. Number 4, is Swig a kind boss? Only if we get it right. He's a tougher taskmaster than King Noglin himself, and we don't want the wrath of him, so we aim for perfection. Number 5, what's a qualifying Swig? All Swigs matter, and all Swigs count. It can be straight out of the box, still in the box, a pop and swap, a fully customized Swig, or something completely different that embodies the essence of Swig. Number 6, will I be judged? Only if you forget to bring a Swig. Number 7, will my Swig be judged? No, all Swigs are loved and appreciated for who they are. Number 8, I heard something about raffles. What's the prizes? There is a raffle, and it is stacked with abundant prizes. You get 1 raffle ticket for each Swig that you bring and put on the table. So remember, bring your Swig. Come hang out in the swiggiest of all the rooms with the most swag, and dare we say, the most riz in all of New Jersey on Sunday, November 9th at 1 p.m. Room opens at 11. See you there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I don't know how audible it was, Ed and Terrance, but
Oh, you can hear
I
it
mean, I was
perfect.
listening to it.
Yep.
Cool. No, that's cool. I saw that. I thought it was just like a gag number, to be honest.
Well,
When I
that's
saw
we
it, I
keep
never
having.
typed it in.
I keep laughing because I keep saying everything I do. Last year we had a lot of people who didn't participate because they didn't think it was a real event. So that's where they said that was a real event. That's actually because we had so many people tell us they thought it was a gag.
That's
So
awesome.
like we really I keep laughing saying that. Well, I guess this works into plastic shame because there were so many people. The other day I was on a different stream and I said to them, I said, these things I do, people don't think they're real. So I mean, like they're they think the hotline's a fake number. There are people saying they're afraid to dial it. I'm like, we're not stealing credit card information or anything. We're just trying to have some fun with the event. And but last year people came to the event, they were like wowed and like in awe. And they're like, I didn't think this was real. I would have brought a swig. I didn't know it was real. So we're
I just
hoping
want
this
you to
year,
know.
yeah, they take it more
Go ahead.
seriously.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, I just want you to know, as soon as we wrap this call tonight, I'm gonna go down in my basement and see if one of those boxes I have sitting down there contains a swig. Because I don't think I've ever opened one, but I feel like I might own one.
Well, here's the thing too. To say this, and this is something that's important too. If you come on Saturday and you're not going to be there Sunday, feel free. I will be collecting swigs, and I will make sure that they get home appropriately. So, I mean, like if you want to leave your swig behind, I will make sure that he doesn't become part of my permanent collection. That he will be returned to you. I'm actually already. I'm already getting some in the mail from people, so I won't show the
Oh,
address.
that's
But the thing
awesome.
is, people have sent me. So I feel like I'm running like an underground railroad of swigs, getting them across the borders to New Jersey. But yeah, we're taking all the swigs. You know what I mean?
Is it legal to transfer swig across state lines in the U.S.?
We just don't talk about it. We keep
Okay.
them hidden.
It's like Fight Club.
Oh,
You just don't talk about Fight Club. You just don't
Yeah.
talk about swig.
I,
Okay.
I thought a few of the guys were just telling me from last year. You just have to declare it from each state to each state, kind of like when you enter a new country.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is a world of tariffs now, and I don't feel like paying them. So we just
Okay, fair enough. Because he'd be expensive one too.
yeah.
Awesome, good deal. That's so cool. So I got like kind of 1+1A question follow up.
Sure.
What was the count last year for swigs in attendance?
So our count last year was 364. Which so the other thing too is like it's funny. Another stream was saying I promote this, and I feel like the studio really gives us free reign. They give us the room, and it's really up to us to bring the crowd. So I mean, I do all the promotion for it and everything else, and that's not to take anything away from the studio. They're very kind in giving us the space, but it's really kind of up to myself and whoever helps spread the word to tell people, hey, if you're coming to LegionsCon, bring us a wig. And luckily enough, people were bringing like they brought 364 plus. I don't know if you're familiar with Simple Tricks and Nonsense. They do a lot of great cosplay at a lot of cons around the country. Rebecca McDonald, she was also in the Fall of Grayskull fan film. She came as Swig to the event. So I always say we had 364 plus Rebecca. And so she's in a lot of the pictures that are online of the event. She was there posing. Her husband, John, had come as Sir Gerard, which is the tribute figure to Jeremy Gerard. And so, the thing is, I don't know if I actually own the mask that she wore last year, so I don't think she'll be wearing that one this year. But it's we're going to try to top that record. We're actually trying to go for the single largest display of customized action figures based upon a single character. So we're going to try to do it. We know we have a lot of competition out there from if somebody decides to do it with, say, Spider-Man or Batman or Boba Fett, we might have some competition. But so far, there isn't an official record yet. So we're going to try to hold it as long as we
You're
can.
going. I like where you're going with that. That caught me on competition. So going back to the first slide of this main thing, there was 5 unattractive traits, and the next one I'm going to mention is gambling. What's the over/under on swig count for this year?
I would say that I feel we've got a really good chance of going for 500. That's where I'm saying. I don't know if we'll get to 1,000. I'd really somebody said something from the studio the other day, which I think they were jesting. It'd be great if it was true. I love George Gaspar. He is one of the project managers over at Four Horsemen Studios. He was on Purple Gang Gang the other night, and so he And funny enough, he last year was the one when people said, "Oh, are we going to do it again next year?" He was like, "Yeah, we keep going until we hit 1,000." Because there's been a few people who are like, "Are we doing that again? Or are we doing a different character?" No, we're doing Swig this year. I don't know if we'll do it again next year. I'd like to
It's
crush
Swig
the 1,000.
forever.
But if we crush the 1,000 this year, I'd say, hey, let's do something new next year. But I think that he made a joke saying, hey, let me know on Saturday what it looks like, and we'll make sure the rest show up. I don't think it really works that way. That would be a lot of boxes. But it was very nice of him to say that. But I think we'd like to see it be more organic and be the community. And last year they topped themselves. You know what I mean? Again,
I
we didn't
think
hit 1,000.
I think you guys will top 500 this year easily. First of all, like you said, right? A lot of people weren't really sure what the deal was with it last year.
Right.
And then the people that are, fans of the line or fans of toy collecting in general all realized that that was legit. And there was actually, close to 500 there last year. So I think you're going to get the 500 mark easy this year.
Right.
1,000, that might be pushing it, but you'll definitely top 500.
Yeah, I think
And
for
right
me,
now, just for those, oh, go for it.
no, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and just for those that are looking right now, BBTS has an in-stock sale for $37, 26% off right now on All Star Swig. So you could, if you don't have one, you should get one.
Absolutely. I mean, for me last year, we did it, and like I said, I was very moved by the stories that people told me, and to see like when the Four Horsemen themselves, when Corn Boy and Jim Preziosi and Jeremy and Eric Treadway, the guys who really make up the studio, Chris and George came up and walking through and seeing how like blown away they were by it. That to me was the ultimate payoff. And then when I got home to see videos that people had put up again, I don't know if you're familiar with Big Dub, but Big Dub goes to a lot of cons around the country. He had done a video that was just about 1,000 Swigs, and at one point, him and Trevor are in the hallway just because Big Dub calls Trevor over, and he's like, "Man, have you ever seen anything like this?" He's like, "I go to a lot of cons all over the country, but he's like, this is like a real art installation, like." To see like fans pour out and actually put all this creativity onto this. In the morning, Jeremy had asked me how many tables I would need, and he asked me if 2 or 3 would do. And I said, yeah, I guess. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. We ended up needing about 11 or 12 by the time the day was over. We were stealing tables from the next rooms over and stuff like that. So it was really overall just to see how much it meant to other people. And for a lot of people, at the end of the day, it's on some of the videos of when Jeremy showed up at the end for the photo. He gave a speech, and one of the things that blew me away about it was that he said that this was really what LegionsCon was founded on. Bringing fans together, letting them express the artistry of it. I think Four Horsemen's always been great in the sense that a lot of companies don't want you to mess with their figures, or if you do, they don't want to hear about it. They don't want to be involved in it. Four Horsemen actually goes out of their way. And I think it's smart from a couple different perspectives. I think it makes people love the line better. It can't hurt them from a sales perspective, you know what I mean? For people buying multiple
Right.
things. But I just think that it has created a reciprocal relationship between fans and toy makers, and they've taken it further by they have this con that's really just LegionsCon, but they bring in all these other indie toy companies like AWOC, Spiro, Legendary, Valaverse, and they give them a bigger showcase to say, hey, listen. And in a lot of cases, they actually also help with the production of those figures. I mean, they work with, this year we'll have Big Bad Toy Store there, like you were talking earlier about that they're going to have their eraser there. A lot of great exclusives. But I mean, they don't have to do that, and I don't think it's a bully type thing. I think it's awesome that they do it. I think that it's like, hey, listen, we know there's other shows like New York Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con, but this is really a show for smaller brand toy companies. And I think that it lets you see things that you're not going to see from Hasbro and Mattel, not to knock them, but to just see companies that are, I kind of think it's like almost like small batch bourbon companies, or boutique type stores, in the sense of you're gonna find something that's different. You go some places sometimes and you see people wearing the same shirts. Everyone bought at Target or Walmart, but here you're gonna find a different level of artistry, a different level of sculpting, more paint apps, more paint detail. And yes, you're going to pay a little more for your action figures, but you're getting something you're not going to get from those big toy makers because they can't produce it in those numbers.
Right. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, I'm gonna close up on the SwiggMania LegionsCon 1,000 Swigs, and go into the next slide here. My numbers on just under 600, just so we have that on the record, by the way. But I want to, I mean, from the chat, for those that are still with us and join us, what's the funniest, most ridiculous reaction someone's had to your toy collection? I think, Terrance, you pointed out that, you've had people come in and, contractors or whatever service, and they're like, holy cow, what is this? Like all that stuff. I personally, my youngest son had a friend or two over, and they had walked past my office here, and saw everything when it was all stood up and everything. Like, oh man, your dad's got a cool YouTube studio, and there were all those toys, and I'm like, they just happened to see some lights and things like that, and like thought it was really cool. And Ed, I know your brother thinks some of the stuff that you has cool, but like for the chat, like what's the coolest thing you guys have had? And then I guess Ed and Terrance, both of you, like, have you ever converted a critic to a collector? And I mean, we know you. Well, I don't know if it's a critic, but we know you had success in converting your, significant other to being involved in it. So that right there, like, trumps all. But is there a story or anything around something like that?
I see people all the time. They'll see, like, again, they're not familiar with Mythic Legions. But they make the association quickly. Like, they'll see a barbarian and think of like Conan or He-Man, and they'll ask questions about that, or they'll see knights and they're like, "Who makes this?" And they'll ask questions, and I mean, but that's also happened to me with Masterverse figures and other things. Like, people just aren't aware that there's stuff out there still, or that toys have evolved in such a way that they're not like they were when we were kids. If you were comparing a 1978 Star Wars figure and the sliding lightsaber action on the arm versus the articulation and stuff that we have today, the soft goods, and people are like, they want to know where they can find these things. So occasionally I've had people at work come back and tell me like 3 months later, hey, I ordered this thing. Is it, I love it, but is it popular? Is it good? I'm like, if you love it, that's all that matters. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't matter if everyone else likes it. I just want you, if you don't buy it if you don't like it, and of course if you do, don't worry about what anybody else thinks.
And on that note, no shame.
That's what you love.
At the end of the day, collecting isn't about approval. It's about passion. The people who don't understand it never will. And that's completely fine.
Yep.
Because this is our lane. Everybody else can get the hell out of it. That said, Ed, what's your message to people who don't, get it yet?
For me, it's all about having fun, getting to meet great people, having an outlet, and there's a meme that went around Instagram a couple months ago that was talking about how like collecting figures they're not just pieces of art, they're not just pieces of plastic, they're an escape for your old soul that's tired.
Terrance, if you could tell non-collectors one thing about our world, what would it be?
I would say, don't yuck somebody else's yum. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that you got to do you. If it, you don't always have to understand what makes somebody else happy. But like, I think to me, one of the things I heard tonight when listening to Ed talk about his dad working on those model cars and the joy it brought him, that really, like, it hit me in the heart because of the fact that, like, it's kind of like, when you see kids go someplace like a circus or the zoo for the first time and their eyes wide, like, I love seeing that in adults because it's something I think is lost after a certain age for the most part. That you don't really, you feel like you've seen it all, you've done it all. But the thing is, there's times I'll sit down, like Gina has gotten me like a birthday gift or something like that. Like maybe it's a Grail figure or something like that, and it's amazing to just have somebody understand you well enough to get you something that they knew you'd like and that you'd appreciate, or even more so. It is going to sound wacky, but we've gone to some toy shows in the last year where in the past, I might have thought like, oh man, it's $300. I don't know if I can really justify it. And then had this person in my ear going, get it. You know what I mean? Like, and giving me the approval to go forward with it, where maybe in the past somebody would have made me feel bad about it. So, I mean, I just think that, being able to find that kind of joy and just enjoying the passion of it. Maybe for Ed's dad, it's going back to what he did many years earlier. Or maybe it's just, I mean, I was thinking about, I don't know Ed's dad, I don't know how old he is, but like, to have the hand dexterity and the eyes to work on a model car, that's pretty amazing. So
Yeah.
good for him.
For sure. Awesome. And I mean, like, if I was going to close on one thing, right? Your statement there, Ed, yours, the meme. Mine would be normies, suck on my plastic. um, that said, I'm
Trademark,
hoping
patent pending.
like patent pending, yes.
Yes.
Trademark, copyright, hashtag back up off my stuff, normies. That said, Brick, I don't care if you posted it first. It's my words now. The other side of that is I'm going to be really pushing hard to try to make it down there. I just looked and checked, and there are still 2-day passes available. I may have just dropped 2 of them in my cart. Is there a cost for kids, or like what's the price? What's that? Do you know?
I don't know if there's a cost under a certain age. My son's currently, I paid for a ticket for him, but
Okay.
he's 15, so I mean, I don't know.
So is mine. So is mine.
Okay, so and so
Well, hold on. He's 14. He's gonna be 15.
and the thing is too is like the hotel is accessible to everybody. Like the rooms themselves, that you'll have to do a registration to get into the actual rooms and stuff like that. But the 2-day pass, just so you know, as far as I know, they were sold out, and then they had printed up a
He just opened them up.
small batch. Yeah, so I mean, like they probably won't be available long. So if you're thinking about it, go for it. You know what I mean? Again, I don't know if you can be there for 2 days, but they do have.
I won't be there
on
for
site
2
passes.
days.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask like if there's a benefit to the 2-day versus the 1-day.
Well, I mean, so I will tell you this. I mean, again, this is your first time going. A lot of folks now go much earlier. So, like, I get there Wednesday night.
Brian says, leave your kid outside. It's okay.
the
It's
actual
New Jersey. What could happen?
The con is only Saturday and Sunday. Friday mornings they have something called G-Con, which is
Yeah, G-Con. I'm pumped for that.
they basically reveal all the new stuff. They do live stream that as well. So if you can't make it there Friday, you can definitely participate by watching it online. I'm going for intern for a day this year. It's a lottery system. So
Awesome.
Thursday, my son actually won. He was the winner of the
That's
lottery,
awesome.
and so sorry, Gina's.
Children 10 and under are free with paid adult admission. I'm on the site now.
Okay, well, it won't affect you
Thank
anyway.
you.
Back him,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, if you have a child under 10, then that child is free with an adult attendee.
Okay.
So if your kid's smaller, maybe just not talk about the age. But
He just sprouted overnight. Like the kid is almost as tall as me now. So like, yeah, and it's not like I'm trying to get one over. No, that's fine.
I'm kidding. But I mean, like, I can totally relate to where you're coming from because my son in the last year and a half he's about equal in height. We wear the same clothes sometimes. He stole one of my sneakers the other day. Not both of them, but we had the same pair. He stole one of my sneakers the other day. He regularly steals my shirts. Anyhow, it's if you're gonna come for the 2 days, it's definitely worth it if you're gonna be there. But if you're not, then get a 1-day pass and that's fine. Take it in. But chances are, if you enjoy it, you're probably gonna want to come every year thereafter. In my opinion.
Yeah, well, next year's gonna be ToyLeet Takeover when we get there, right, Ed? That's the plan. This year's more of a spur of the moment. Maybe I'll make it and kick the doors down a little bit for us. But I can confirm that John Emerald Knight will be there. I did message him during this chat. During this, and because I wanted to know if he and Realm of Toys were going to be there, because those are 2 guys that I know that I've intended on seeing. I know I met John when we were at PowerCon a few years ago, but Realm of Toys I've not had the fortune of meeting in person yet.
John
awesome.
actually, when we were at Joe Fest, he had a Mythic Legions photo that actually won the competition they had there. And we gave him a goat photo for greatest of all time for his photo. So it was a Mythic Legions photo.
Nice.
He should come to Mythic Legions. To Legion.
Yeah, that's sweet. Okay, cool. So with that said, I think that's what we had for tonight. Terrance, first I want to say thank you so much for joining us. It was awesome having you on and just chatting. I think I'm going to return the favor here at some point in the future and join you guys on that Saturday show. Talk about the tribe when there's an opportunity and things sync up. I know you offered that. I will likely take you up on that when there's an available time slot. It's been a pleasure. I'm hoping to meet you in person in a week and a half. But you guys, when I mean that, I'm saying Gina too. because I'm going to need as much help getting my wife out of the car and into the building as possible. It's hard enough back when I used to try to drag her out of the parking lot into Toys R Us when I was going hunting in Toys R Us as a young adult in my early 20s. But we'll figure it out. That said, where can folks find you?
Well, for the most part, I'm on Instagram. I don't have a YouTube channel that I am specifically on. I do participate in the tribe, usually more in the background. I usually help them with ideas and stuff like that because I'm typically bartending when they go live. But I am, in tight with all of the guys there: Mark Thomas, Rob Zamora, Jeff Evans. And they run a great show. Brian Carr, and they do that. I think right now they're doing it monthly because it's been a little slow on the AWOC news. But they'll be going live as things are picking up. I mean, I think there won't. I don't believe there'll be any new product, but they'll probably have the new prototypes that you saw at Titan Toys will probably be on display at LegionsCon. And so, but you can always possibly find me on either Purple Gang Gang or Off World. I show up sporadically every once in a while on Clubhouse, but you never know where I might pop up. But you can always check out my Instagram channel, Terrance's Next Toy. I usually post almost every day.
Awesome. Good deal. Ed, what do you got going on the next week?
Posting pictures here and there and all over the YouTubes in different spots. So
good deal. Good deal. Well, you know where you're going to be next week, a week from today.
I know where I'll be next Tuesday.
Seat right here in hopefully the preparation for my LegionsCon drive, maybe just a few days in advance of it. I know I'll be hyped up. We'll be recapping G-Con. Maybe we'll do a little bit of live stream that Friday night or something, Ed. We'll see what we got going on. But next week we got special guests joining us. We have Mega J Retro joining us next Tuesday to come on. He will potentially, no guarantee. I know Mike Gordon from Motu Universe Kickstarter that's actively going right now. He is not able to join.
Motu Universe, it's Motuniverse.
How, dude? You're asking me how to pronounce something.
I
man.
know.
That's
I'm just clarifying for the viewers.
But wait, Ed, why is there a con now for people that want more tuna?
Well, it's because it's real tuna. That's
okay. Is it in water or oil?
It's no more of that fake stuff.
Oh, okay.
It's in the coast, right? It's on the Pacific.
Yep.
So wait, is it going to see chicken or tuna?
I don't know, Jessica. I don't know.
I don't know, Jessica. And buffaloes don't have wings because
I'm showing my age anyway.
But that shit makes me fly.
That's right.
That makes me fly. That said, we will have Mega J Retro. He is working to get Danny, his co-owner, co-creator of El Dragoon, on, so we can get an update from them on the El Dragoon activities, but also talk a little bit about Motuniverse, if I pronounce that right. But that'll be live next week. In the meantime, we'll continue to hit you with additional content as we see fit and can. But until then, I guess I just say, stay wonderful.
From Axe and Stacks to Toy Vendor, yeah, we break through. Unbox the fire, showcase the find. Collectors worldwide, all one of.
Hold up, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. If you're still here, I got something I want to say.
Oh, shit.
Don't forget to hit the like, hit the subscribe, share it if you enjoy it. We're trying to get to 500. We're at just under 400. We saw a massive increase over the course of the last couple weeks. If you like what you see here, shoot us comments, subscribe, make it all active and stuff, mess with the algorithms and shit. And again, like I said, just stay wonderful.
ToyLeet crew, from Axe and Stacks to Toy Vendor, yeah, we break through. Unbox the fire, showcase the find. Collectors worldwide, all one of a kind. ToyLeet